Hook. Hudson and Rex just made the biggest mistake in its history, and fans are not staying silent anymore. Charlie is gone, the story feels broken, and now people are actually calling for the show to be cancelled. But here's the twist no one expected. Season 9 might actually be good. So what really happened behind the scenes? And why are fans so divided right now? Let's talk about it. Section 1. Everything started falling apart the moment Charlie disappeared. But no one expected it to get this bad. For years, Charlie wasn't just a character, he was the heart of Hudson and Rex. The connection, the emotion, the energy, it all revolved around him. And then suddenly, he's gone. Not a proper goodbye, not a respectful send-off, just gone. At first, fans thought maybe it was part of a bigger storyline, something mysterious that would pay off later. But as episodes went on, it became painfully clear, this wasn't a creative decision done right. This was a disaster. And let's be real for a second, the way they handled Charlie's exit? It didn't just feel rushed, it felt careless. One moment he's missing, the next moment he's being referred to as dead, and the audience is left confused, frustrated, and honestly, disappointed. No emotional closure, no real explanation, nothing that respects a character people followed for years. It's like the show just expected fans to move on, but that's not how it works. When you build such a strong connection with a character, you can't just erase them and expect everything to feel normal again. What made things even worse was the timing. Fans already knew about the real-life struggles Johnny went through, and instead of honoring that journey, it feels like the show completely turned its back on him. That's where the anger really started to grow. Because now it's not just about the story anymore, it feels personal. It feels like the show disrespected someone who gave years of his life to make it successful. And once that idea got into the fandom, everything changed. Social media quickly turned into a battlefield. Some fans were confused, others were heartbroken, but a huge number of people were straight up angry. Hashtags started trending, discussions exploded, and suddenly the conversation wasn't about how good the show is anymore, it was about how badly it messed up. People started saying the same thing over and over again, this isn't the Hudson and Rex we loved. And honestly, it's hard to disagree with that. Because when you watch season 8, something just feels off. The chemistry isn't the same, the emotional depth feels weaker, and no matter how hard the show tries to move forward, it keeps getting pulled back by the absence of Charlie. You can replace a character, but you can't replace what they meant to the audience. And that's exactly the problem Hudson and Rex is facing right now. And this is where things take a serious turn. Because fans didn't just complain, they started demanding change. Some want Charlie back, others want answers, but a growing number of viewers are saying something even more extreme, they want the show to end completely. Cancelled. Finished. Over. That's how deep the frustration goes. But here's the twist. Just when it feels like everything is falling apart, Season 9 enters the conversation, and somehow, it's starting to change the narrative in a way no one saw coming. Now here's where things start to get really interesting, because despite all the backlash, all the anger, and all the calls for cancellation, Hudson and Rex didn't stop. In fact, it did the exact opposite. Season 9 quietly moved forward, filming wrapped, and suddenly, the conversation shifted from "this show is finished" to "wait, what if they're actually trying to fix this?" And that alone created a completely new kind of tension within the fandom. Because let's be honest, nobody expected Season 9 to even happen after the disaster of Season 8. The ratings dropped, the reviews were harsh, and the audience trust was at an all-time low. It felt like the show had already crossed a line it couldn't come back from. But instead of backing down, the creators doubled down. And that decision? It could either save the show, or completely destroy whatever is left of its reputation. And this is where fans became divided. On one side, you have Section 2. Now here's where things start to get really interesting, because despite all the backlash, all the anger, and all the calls for cancellation, Hudson and Rex didn't stop. In fact, it did the exact opposite. Season 9 quietly moved forward, filming wrapped, and suddenly, the conversation shifted from "this show is finished" to "wait, what if they're actually trying to fix this?" And that alone created a completely new kind of tension within the fandom. Because let's be honest, nobody expected Season 9 to even happen after the disaster of Season 8. The ratings dropped, the reviews were harsh, and the audience trust was at an all-time low. It felt like the show had already crossed a line it couldn't come back from. But instead of backing down, the creators doubled down. And that decision? It could either save the show, or completely destroy whatever is left of its reputation. And this is where fans became divided. On one side, you have people who are completely done. They feel betrayed, they feel ignored, and no matter what Season 9 does, they've already made up their minds. For them, Charlie was the show, and without him, there's nothing worth watching anymore. But on the other side, there are fans who are still holding on. Not because they forgot what happened, but because they're hoping, just hoping, that Season 9 might actually do something right. And surprisingly, early reactions are starting to suggest exactly that. There's been a lot of quiet talk going around that Season 9 feels different. Not perfect, not exactly the same as before, but different in a way that shows effort. A way that makes it seem like the creators actually listened, at least a little bit. The pacing feels tighter, the storytelling feels more focused, and there's a noticeable attempt to bring back the emotional weight that was missing before. And for some viewers, that's enough to at least give the show another chance. But here's the problem: fixing the story is one thing. Fixing the damage is something else entirely. Because no matter how good Season 9 might be, there's still one big question hanging over everything: what about Charlie? His absence is still there, still felt in almost every moment. And unless the show directly addresses that in a meaningful way, it's always going to feel incomplete. Fans don't just want a better story, they want closure. They want respect for the character they lost. And without that, even a strong season can feel hollow. And that's why every small detail in Season 9 is being watched so closely. Every line of dialogue, every reference, every hint, fans are analyzing everything, looking for any sign that the show might finally do the right thing. Some even believe there could be a surprise twist, something that changes everything. Maybe a hidden truth about Charlie, maybe a reveal that no one saw coming. It sounds unlikely, but at this point, people are desperate for something that makes all of this make sense. At the same time, there's also a growing fear: what if Season 9 is actually good, but it's too late? What if the damage from Season 8 was so severe that no matter how much the show improves, the audience just doesn't come back? Because that's the reality Hudson and Rex is facing right now. It's not just about quality anymore, it's about trust. And once that trust is broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. So now, the show is stuck in this strange position. Season 9 might be better. Maybe even good, but it's carrying the weight of everything that went wrong before it. And whether it succeeds or fails doesn't just depend on the story, it depends on whether fans are willing to forgive. And that brings us to the biggest question of all: can Hudson and Rex actually recover from this, or is it already too late?